All right, so we're going to do another IFR flight. This time it's going to be real IFR from the 6-2 Golf Alpha Airport over to Covington, which is not very far from here. And so we're going to go ahead and do a direct, and we're going to go to K, C, V, C. So that's the airport that we're going to be going to. Maybe. I don't know what is the problem here. Why is it not? Try that again. K, C, V. Huh. So evidently it doesn't have that airport, so let's try just putting in CVC. Whoop. Oh, come on. Yay. This little arrow thing is a total pain in the butt. Alright, so we're going to go back over here and try putting in C. V. Huh. Okay, well, evidently this thing doesn't have that in there, so we're going to have to just go ahead and go back to KOPN for right now. So let me change my iPad around here so that we can fly to KOPN. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to close this. We'll add in the procedure once we get up in the air and get everything trimmed up. So we've got a low visibility day. We're going to go try to shoot an approach down at Covington. So to do this, we're going to pick ourselves up in the seat here a little bit, and we're going to release the brakes, and we're going to take off. Pick the gear up. All right, so we've got a little bit of nose down trim, so we're going to trim it up a little bit. I think that's probably too much. And then I'm going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clicks to the left. And it is turning to the left now, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back to the right, because I never know exactly how that's going to pan out. We're still going to the left, 1, 2, 3 to the right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull it back to about 30 inches here, or try to. And it's still turning to the left, which is interesting since it was turning to the right. So everything's fairly trimmed up. I'm gonna go ahead and pull 2 props back to 22,000 RPM. Alright, so we're going to keep our climb going up to 3,000 feet. And we're fairly accurate on our I don't know. That's very odd. I guess we must have. I don't know exactly what's going on there. We must have somehow turned quite a bit. Alright, so we've gone over 3,000 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back to about 25 inches. And then we're going to pull it back to about 1900 RPM. Try to hold it on 3,000 feet. Get ourselves turned back around to our heading that we're supposed to be flying, or at least pretty close. We'll level out right there for just a second. We're still climbing, so try to get the climb under control. And it's still climbing, so we're gonna try to get and now we're turning back to the right. So we need to get back down to 3,000 feet. Alright, so now what we're going to do is over here on my iPad, I'm going to go to procedures. I'm going to go to approach, and we're going to shoot the ILS 30 approach, and we're going to shoot it from Bolin. Alright, so we'll go ahead and tell it to, let's see, or we'll just shoot it from the initial approach fix. So we'll add that to route. So again, we've got to be about 3,000 feet, and we're actually pretty good on our altitude. So let's hold what we got there. All right, and so now what we're going to do while we're doing that, and I'm not flying the airplane, I'm letting it fly with the trim. So that's all right. So we're going to select approach. We're going to shoot the ILS 30 approach. And we're just going to tell it to shoot from the initial approach fix. We'll do enter, and then we'll tell it to go ahead and activate the approach. Hold that down to get back over here. We'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what we got going on. We're turning to the right again, so we're gonna try, and we're climbing, so we're gonna try to correct all that. And then I'm going to close up my nav log on my iPad. Again, I don't know why the thing keeps trying to turn. Earlier it was going to the left, and now you can see that if I leave it alone, it starts going back to the right. I'm still trying to climb, so 2 more clicks on my trim. It's still trying to climb. Still trying to turn to the left, so 2 clicks on the left aileron trim, 2 more clicks on the altitude on the elevator. All right, and so we're going to go ahead. We're pretty, let's see, we got to remember on this guy, we've got to click our button over here to, because right now we're on LNAV. 109.75 is our frequency. .975, we're supposed to be at 3,000 feet. So this back over here. All right, so altitude's looking good. We're a little bit get over here a little bit. Let's turn into the right. I'll go ahead and get this back over here for a second so we can fly our HSI. And of course we're back to climbing, even though I keep hitting the trim down. I mean, there's one thing about this simulator is you can't give it a second worth of not paying attention, because it has gotten us way up off altitude in just a split second. And now we're back to climbing again. So 2 more clicks on the down trim. I mean, this gets rather maddening. So we're going to turn back over here because we're getting a bit to the left, of course. Wow, this thing is still 3 more clicks down. This is getting irritating as heck. This is the reason that I am never happy trying to fly the simulator, is I can never 3 more clicks down. And if we look down here, well, actually we can't see the trim tab on this one. I don't know where the trim gauge is on this one, and it keeps trying to go to the right, or to the left rather, so I'm going to do 2 more clicks to the right. And then we're going to turn a little bit, try to get back over here on course, because we're kind of letting it get away from us, and holy mother, it's climbing again. All right, so we're kind of going back into our course if we can keep the thing from turning. And then I'm going to do 1 more click down trim just to try to keep it where it's supposed to be. And it's trying to climb again. It's like no matter what I do, it always climbs. I'm going to pull the power off just a little bit. So we're 11 miles from our initial approach fix. And because of our direction of travel here, we should be entering a parallel procedure turn. Alright, so altitude's good. RPM we're not going to mess with. It keeps wanting to turn. Now it's turning to the right, so I'm going to do 1 click back to the left trim. Altitude is good. We're almost back on course. Everything is looking good. Got a little bit of a descent now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and pull this thing back to about 20 inches. That's going to get us coming down, or it should. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks on the up trim. And that's really interesting. Now the trim seems like it's wanting to be effective. So now our aileron seems to be wanting to turn to the left. Trim is good. We're on course. We should be heading 227 degrees, and we're pretty close. Now we're on GPS here, so we got to remember to switch that back over to. Oop, now we're coming down, so I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up trim again. Wow, now we're gonna do 1,000 foot per minute ascent. And watch, this is the cool thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So I've basically gone back to where I was to begin with. So we've taken it from our descent back to our original setting. So let's see. So now we're gonna go 1, 2, 3 up. See, this would be awesome if the trim actually would be this sensitive, because then you could actually get this thing trimmed up pretty good. Oh, and it looks like we've really been turning good. Gotten ourselves off course again. So let's get on over here. So we're a bit to the left of our initial approach fix, but really, for all intents and purposes at this point, it's not that big of a deal. Our altitude is looking okay. And now we're going to start our procedure turn. So we're just going to do a parallel entry. So we got to hold our altitude here. Alright, so we're going to roll out, maintaining our 3,000 feet, and we're going to go 60 seconds. And we'll hit one more up. I don't know why the thing's content with losing altitude at this point, but all right, so everything is looking pretty good. I'm gonna hit one more right trim just to kind of try to, because it keeps wanting to turn to the left. All right, so we've been a minute. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make a procedure turn, or our Standard rate turn to the left. And we're descending again. This is quite irritating. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn all the way back around and try to come back into this course at about a 45-degree angle. Holy cow, this thing's descending again. And I'm actually having to hold quite a bit of back pressure to keep it from descending. I've put 3 more back trim bumps on our trim. And now we're still descending. Come on, goofball. So we're going to turn all the way back around here, trying to hold our altitude to about a 240 heading. And then I'm going to pull this guy up here and we're going to put it back over on the ILS. And so now the localizer is coming in, so we're going to turn back around toward our, trying to hold our altitude and everything. We're going to turn back around to our localizer before we get too crazy. Almost waited too long there. Altitude's good. We'll come a little bit past it so we can get back over on it. Now we got to watch that, but now what we're going to do is we're going to pull back to about 15 inches on the manifold and we're going to let her come down. Hopefully she'll come down. So now we're coming down to 2,200 feet. So we're going, holy cow, 3,000 foot a minute, and all I did is pull it back to 15 inches. That is awesome. I mean, seriously. Oh, and look, I pulled back just a little bit to stop the thing, and now we're in a 2,000 foot ascent. I mean, I'm not even touching the yoke. I just push on it and let go of it, and I went from a 3,000 foot descent to a 1,000 foot ascent. So you can't even arrest its tendency. You have to. All right, I'm still tracking toward the localizer. Looks like I might need to do it a little bit more than what I'm doing. All right, so now we're down to where we want to be. So I'm going to add the manifold back up to 2,000 and we're going to let it sit. I don't want to climb. Come on. I didn't change anything on the trim tab. At 2,000 we had it trimmed fairly good earlier. All right, so now we are down to 2,200 feet. Don't go any lower. We're going to get ourselves back over here on the localizer. All right, so quit turning to the left. Oh, now it's going back up again. So now we're going to try to stop that. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'm going to hit the down 2 times, but I mean, we had this thing trimmed earlier. Wow, the localizer is going off course pretty rapidly there. Whoa, now we're in a dive. Holy cow. Get back to 2,200 feet. And quit turning. Now get back over here. Stop climbing. Now let's just sit right here. Stop climbing. I don't want to go into a descent. Wow, our localizer, my DG must be off a little bit, but just stay to the right of it just a tad bit. Holy shit. Oh my God. 2,000 foot ascent, and all I did is bump the yoke and let go. Oh my goodness. So now I pushed it forward and let go. Pushed it forward and let go. Oh, now we're off the other side. So the localizer is being a little weird. I don't know why it's... Holy cow, look how fast it's swinging. What the hell is going on? Let me make sure that I am set correctly here. I don't know. That says VOR1. I'm on the 3-0. And I'm 3-0 on the compass, so the DG is right. Oh, so we never picked up the... Either that or the glide slope came in too quick. So I got too preoccupied with all the other bullshit that was going on and missed my glide slope. Oh my goodness. This is the another example, another failure on the part of me being able to fly an approach with XPlane without an autopilot. So we'll try again later.